One of the ways development can be enhanced within the communities is through community organizations. Community organizations, also known as community-based organizations, are civil society non-profit that operates within a single local community. They are groups that exist to serve the needs of people in a particular area. You can think of them as smaller versions of non-profit organizations, but their own focus is just on one community, maybe a village, a town, or a neighborhood. Here are the things you need to understand about community-based organizations: that they are non-profit. We have said that earlier, that community-based organizations are usually non-profit. That means they don't exist to make money, rather they exist to solve problems or to improve life within their community. And they are also usually voluntary and self-funded. And this suggests that many of the CBOs are run by volunteers, and they raise money. They raise money through contributions or local support. Then they usually have local presence. That is, they are rooted in their community. You usually find them working directly in villages or towns. They are not spread across many regions. They are just located in one community, and they are owned and managed by members. The people who belong to the organization are the ones that run the organization. So it's not controlled by outsiders. And they are formal or informal. They could be formal or informal. Some are legally registered with proper accounts and systems, while others are informal, even though they are still organized. Then they have group identity. Members of CBOs share a sense of belonging and purpose. And example of such community-based organization that we can think of is farmer organization is a good example of CBO. Uh, Farmers in a village might come together to share knowledge. They may buy inputs or have markets or their produce gather together in one place so people can come around to buy them. So another example is youth development association, where young people in a town or a village organize sports or vocational training or literacy programs to uplift their peers. We can also have something like women's cooperative, which can be formed by women to support women, maybe in starting small businesses or in saving money collectively, or to advocate better health care in their community. So these are the things you should understand about community-based organizations. So community-based organizations can be for community service and action. It can be in the area of health or education. It can be for personal growth and improvement. It could be social welfare or self-help for the disadvantaged. Let's take a look at the nature of the CBO. One is that majority of the governing body and staff consist of local residents. And this means that the people who run the organization are not outsiders. They are members of the same community. For example, if it's a farmers group in Oyo State, then the leaders and staff are from that area and not people brought in from maybe Lagos or Abuja. And this is to ensure that decisions reflect local realities. And then the main operating offices are in the community. The office or meeting place of the CBO is right there in the village or town, and so members of the organization do not have to travel far to access them. And this makes the organization itself accessible and rooted in the daily life of the people that it serves. Another nature for consideration is that priority issues are identified and defined by residents. That is, the problems the organization focuses on are identified by the community members itself. For instance, if water is the biggest challenge, that becomes the priority of the organization. If it's youth unemployment that is more pressing, then that's what they tackle. So priority issues are not imposed from outside and they are not assumed. They are identified and defined by the community members. Okay, then solutions to address priority issues are developed with residents. The solution to address these issues are also developed by the residents themselves. Okay, then program design, implementation and evaluation components have residents intimately involved in leadership positions. This means that community members are not just participants, they are also leaders, and they also they are involved in every stage of the program. They help to plan the program, they carry them out, they evaluate, just to ensure that it's a group thing, and they are also involved. The community members are involved in every stage of the program. For example, in a youth skill training project, young people themselves might lead the training sessions or monitor the progress. They are just involved, they are allowed to get involved and to be intimated with whatever program or project that is being done. Now, what are the roles of extension in community organization or community-based organization? As an extension agent, what are your roles? Well, in the past, extension services were about technology transfer, and that means experts will bring new farming methods or new tools or practices from research stations and then hand them over to farmers or communities. It used to be a one-way process, and extension has moved beyond that now. It has moved beyond just transferring knowledge. You can also receive feedback from farmers and get them to research station, and so it plays a role in technology development. Now it's about farmers and extension officers or agents working together, building together. Here are some of the new rules of extension in community-based organizations. 1. Empowerment role. Extension helps community members gain confidence and skills to take charge of their own development. They teach them new things. For instance, training them on how to analyze their own soil fertility or to take measurement of their farm is all about developing their skill, empowering them. Okay, they also have the community organizing role. That is, extension workers help bring people together into groups like farmer cooperatives or youth associations or women's cooperative. They help bring people together and organize them into groups, right? Then they also have human resource development role. Now, extension builds the capacity of people by training them in leadership, management, and technical skills. They also play a significant role in problem solving and education role. Extension works with communities to identify problems and find practical solutions, at the same time educating them on new opportunities that are available. When people decide whether to join or stay active in a community-based organization, several factors shape their participation, and that's why we are talking about issues influencing participation in CBOs now. The degree of the members' dependence on the outputs of the organized activity is number one issue that can influence participation. Participation is stronger when members rely on what the organization produces or what comes out of the organization, when members rely heavily on it. If the outputs are central to their livelihood or well-being, of course, they will stay committed. You can imagine a farmers cooperative that provide access to fertilizer at a subsidized rate. You know, the farmers will depend on the cooperative, and they will actively attend meetings. When they are required to pay dues, they will do, and as well contribute to collective decisions, because what is coming out of the organization is what they depend on, is what's depending on for them. Okay. Another issue that can influence participation is the degree of certainty of the availability of the output. Will the output continually be available? People want assurance that the organization will consistently deliver what it promises. If outputs are uncertain or they are not regular, of course it will erode trust and participation will definitely weaken. For instance, a youth development association that promises we're going to be having vocational training in tailoring, and the training is delivered on schedule with proper materials. Of course, members will feel confident and stay engaged. But if classes are frequently cancelled or resources are unavailable, what do you think will happen? Members will lose faith and they will stop participating. And so certainty builds credibility, while uncertainty will discourage involvement. So the degree of certainty of the availability of the output is also an issue that can influence participation. Then the extent to which the output will be available only as a result of collective action. When benefits can only be achieved through group effort, members are motivated to stay. If individuals can achieve the same result alone, collective participation will not be attractive again. For instance, a water user associations who builds and maintains a borehole, no single villager or individual can afford to construct a borehole on their own. So collective action is the only way, and this necessity keeps members united. Okay. The extent to which the rewards associated with the collective action will be distributed equitably is also an issue that can influence participation. Fairness is one big thing when it comes to participation. If rewards are shared fairly, either equally or based on contributions, members will feel valued and remain active. And if some members feel cheated or excluded, participation will drop. For instance, in a women group, if loans are rotated fairly among members, trust will grow, participation will remain strong. But if leaders start giving loans only to their friends or relatives, others will feel definitely exploited and will withdraw. So equity will ensure sustainability of the group. Then another thing that can enhance participation is the extent of availability of rewards within a reasonable time frame. People are more likely to stay engaged if they see benefits within a reasonable period. But when reward delays, it discourages participation because members will feel that their efforts are wasted. For instance, a cooperative that distributes profits at the end of each farming season will keep members motivated because they can see results quickly. But if profits are delayed for several days or years due to poor management, members may lose patience and abandon the group. So rewards must be visible and timely to sustain interest. Then the extent to which the rewards are commensurate with the cost associated with continued participation. Members constantly weigh the balance between what they invest in terms of time, money, and effort, and what they tend to gain. If cost outweigh benefits, of course, participation declines. But if benefits are greater than cost, participation will be strengthened. If attending meetings requires long travel and high fees, but the benefits are minimal, members will drop out. Also, if the cooperative provides significant savings on farm inputs and access to markets, members will see that the rewards justify the cost, and so participation will remain high. These are the issues that can influence participation in community-based organizations. Let's look at some of the steps in establishing community-based organization. 1. Understanding the community. Before rushing in, you need to spend time learning about the community. You learn about their culture, challenges, you know more about their strengths, and this can take like up to a month. When you do this, you build trust, and also you are able to know what they really need. It's like carrying out a needs assessment. So you need to understand the community before establishing community-based organization. Number 2 step is to identify potential leaders. For every community there are leaders, and some are positional leaders, some are opinion leaders. Positional leaders like chiefs or elected officials, okay, and there are opinion leaders like respected elders within the community or successful farmers. It could even be youth influencers. They are opinion leaders. So spotting these kind of leaders is key, because they can mobilize others in getting the CBOs established. Alright, 3. Talking to leaders and agencies. Once leaders are identified, you talk to them. You reach out to other agencies, maybe extension services or NGOs. Their cooperation is able to ensure support and probably resources even for the organization. Then helping leaders call meetings. Leaders should not work alone. They call community meetings where everyone can share ideas, where transparency can be built so that everybody can be on the same page, right? The next step in establishing a community-based organization is to nominate core group leaders. And how do we go about nominating the core group leaders? From the initial meetings that have been held, a smaller group of committed individuals can be nominated to drive the establishment of the organization, and you can consider these individuals as the engine room of the organization, the ones that hold the organization together. All right, so the next step is developing an organizational structure. The organizational structure can be in two stages. Stage 1, the leaders study guidelines from other successful organizations, and stage 2 is that they draft a structure and working rules that fit their own community. Right. The next step is developing management through education and action learning. We all know that training is very important. So leaders and members learn by doing. Workshops, demonstrations, and practice can help leaders to manage the organization effectively. The next step is gearing up for action, that is PAM cycle. And PAM refers to planning, action, and monitoring. This cycle ensures that projects are well thought out, they are well implemented, and they are also well evaluated for progress. Then we have implementing selected projects as the next step. Now the organization starts real work, maybe a cooperative farm or a marketing initiative, something like that. And so these projects show the community the benefits of organizing. When the community are able to see this in action, then they will be able to understand how beneficial the organization can be to them. Then the next step is monitoring and evaluating progress. Finally, the organization must regularly check how well it is doing. Are projects successful? Are members satisfied? These are the questions to ask to evaluate the progress of the organization. And this evaluation helps to improve and also to ensure that the organization remains sustainable. We have talked about community-based organization. Now let's talk about extension organization. So what's an extension organization? It's a collection of individuals and group of people deliberately arranged to achieve goals, perform tasks, or conduct extension program that might not be as effectively performed by individuals or isolated group. That's the definition of extension organization. Now you can think of an extension organization as a team of people who come together on purpose to achieve certain goals. They come together on purpose, and the essence of coming together is to achieve certain goals, like teaching farmers new methods, like organizing training or running community programs. And these things are things that could be difficult for one person or a small isolated group to do alone. So an extension organization is able to arrange team of people together to achieve this kind of goals. Okay, now every organization has two sides: formal structure and informal structure. Formal structure is the official arrangement that you see in an organizational chart, where you have the flow of power from top down. It shows who is at the top, who reports to whom, how tasks are divided. In other words, power usually flows from the top down on the formal structure or in the formal structure of an organization. But there is also an informal structure, which is an unwritten side of the organization, in which people who are lower in hierarchy have influence because of their connections, because of their experience or respect in the community. So even if the chart is saying one thing, real power and information will flow differently. Okay, so note that there is formal structure and there is informal structure, even in extension organization. Government extension services are usually organized by regions, districts, and local areas. And at the grassroots level, the village extension worker and the local authority are the foundation. They are the ones who interact directly with farmers and communities. Okay. Every organization has its management team, and what the management team does is to coordinate the efforts of people in order to accomplish goals and objectives using available resources efficiently and effectively. And for extension organizations, there are three levels of management, and each one has a different emphasis. We have the top management, middle management, first line management, though their functions may overlap. The first line or front line managers are the senior and district extension workers who directly supervise the front line extension agents and other field staff. And their main job is to make sure that extension programs that have been approved at higher levels are carried out in the field. And so they spend most of their time on field activities. They spend their time guiding extension workers, reinforcing their work, and sometimes they even do non-managerial tasks like liaising with community chiefs, giving talks to farmers, or assisting with farm input. So you can see frontline management or frontline managers as the hands-on managers that are closest to the farmers. We also have the middle management, and these are managers who oversee regions and sub-regions. Their function is to act as a bridge between the top managers and the frontline managers. And their role is to coordinate programs across districts to ensure consistency and provide supervision at a wider level. So you can picture them as the middle link that connects strategy from the top with action at the grassroots. Okay. We also have the top management. At the top management are the director generals, directors of extension, and other senior leaders, and they determine the type and form of extension services. They set the direction to go, and also define strategies to employ. Their roles include interpersonal role, informational role, and decisional role. For interpersonal role, they provide leadership, they liaise with ministers, politicians, and other institutions to promote extension activities. For their informational role, they monitor departmental activities. They also keep staff informed and act as spokespersons at important functions. Then they also have decisional role, which include allocating resources, setting staff policies, handling conflict, discipline staff, purchasing equipment, and negotiating better conditions for workers. So they are the strategic leaders in an organization. Okay, we said that for every organization there is management team. And what are the functions of this management team? The functions are: 1. Planning, organizing, staffing and human resource management, leading and influencing, as well as controlling. For planning, it is the process of determining organization's line of objective and selection of future course of action to be accomplished. Planning is the process of determining organization's line of objective and selection of future course of action to be accomplished. Organizing, on the other side, is a process by which employee and their jobs are related together for accomplishing organization's objectives. While staffing and human resources management deals with selection and development of people who are qualified to carry out the work of the department and establishment of an atmosphere where people are satisfied. Let's talk more about human resource management and why does human resource management matter in extension? Well, in recent years, organizations have realized that people are the most important resource. And so it's not just about giving them jobs, it's about motivating them, it's about helping them to feel valued and give them opportunities to grow. People need things like self-esteem, belonging to a group, and self-actualization. They want to become the best version of themselves. But unfortunately for extension organization in developing countries, the challenge is that many workers lack proper training or motivation, and without good human resource management, extension service will struggle. So planning and managing people properly is essential to make extension effective, and that's why human resource management is important in extension. And what are the key dimensions of human resource management in extension? One is human resource planning. Human resource planning, and this means forecasting how many extension workers will be needed in the future, what skills they should have, and how to recruit and train them. The techniques for carrying out human resource planning include survey, statistical analysis, and audits of current staff skills. So you can think of human resource planning as looking ahead so we don't run short of capable extension workers, right? Then we also have job analysis. Remember, we are talking about key dimensions of human resource management. I've talked about human resource planning, and we also have job analysis. And job analysis is about clearly defining what each role requires. It produces job description. It is through job analysis that we are able to know the job descriptions. For instance, if you are searching or looking for a job and you have a display of vacancy, they will also include job description, that is duties, responsibilities, and conditions attached to the job. And we also have job specification. They will also specify the kind of skills required, the educational level required, and the abilities needed. So in many extension organizations, job roles are sometimes unclear, and this leads to confusion and kind of overload. So job analysis is important to help bring clarity and accountability. Okay. So we also have key performance areas. Key performance areas. Instead of listing every small duty, key performance area highlight the most important functions of a role. For example, for village extension workers, the roles are to visit farms, educate farmers, give advice. That's the key performance area for village extension. Then for subject matter specialists, the key performance area is to stay updated on research, give feedback, train extension workers. And for supervisory staff or extension officers, their own key performance area include to plan, coordinate, supervise, and evaluate programs. So key performance areas help workers to know what really matters in their job. To round up this session, let's look at the critical attributes for extension personnel. Beyond duties, extension workers need certain qualities. They need education and training in agriculture, practical farming skills, communication and group dynamic skills, leadership and management abilities, particularly for supervisors. They also need values like commitment to rural people and concern for community development. So these attributes separate effective extension workers from ineffective ones. And this is where we draw the curtain for this class. If you have any question or clarifications, we can see to discuss. Bye.